Here we are on lockdown 2020. Got my son's MG Midget. They used it for the wedding last year, and I'm looking at lowering the rear suspension. We've got some lowering blocks. I'm just going to check over the current height. The front is about 130 and the back is about just over 180 maybe. So I think it will take a lowering block. So what we're going to do now is just take the wheels off, get it up in the air, and then we'll start taking it apart. Right, so we've jacked it up, got the wheels off. Just having a look underneath. Obviously it's had the telescopic damper adjustment. Seems to have a stainless steel pipe on. We put on a motorcycle exhaust. Makes it sound so much better than the exhaust that cuts across the back. Generally seems in good order. I know when he got the car there'd been quite a lot of repair work done on it. Some surface rust on the axle itself, but generally everything seems fairly good. Just put some lubricating oil onto the U-bolt nuts, so I'll leave that to penetrate for a bit while I go and have a cup of tea. It's an opportunity to get a few bits and bobs done on the car. So right, okay, come back to you shortly. Cheers. Right, this is the lowering kit. It's second hand. It's off my race car. We used to run with a lowering box, but then we've reprofiled the springs. We've got the dog here giving us some assistance, Sid. They're longer U-bolts to accommodate the lowering blocks, which you'll notice one side recessed, one side proud for fitting. These are they're not new, but they're in better condition than the ones that are on. Had a slight issue on the near side, in that you can probably see this one here is sheared off, but it just means that I'll have to just replace the nut for that one. The other side came off, no problems at all. So we'll get on with popping these up. When you probably worthwhile putting some nuts on these just to tap them up, so you're not damaging the ends if you ever want to go back, and we'll continue to do that. Popping the U-bolts up. There's on the top, underneath the U-bolts, there's a thin plate. That one on this side's quite bad. I'm not sure I've got a spare one. If not, I'll just have to reuse that. But it's just to protect the axle, as far as I'm aware. Allow a bit of sliding. But anyway, I better get on before the dog ravages me. Right. You can see we've removed the U-bolts and the top metal clamp. There's a piece same as that, goes on the top. Now the rubbers are quite perished. We could do with replacing them, but given this is a Saturday and we're just doing a trial run to see how low it puts the car, we're going to put it back together and then we'll replace that at a later date. So here we've got the lowering block, metal clamp and the old knackered rubber, but we'll put those into position and then look at getting the U-bolts over the top and down through the bottom. The way we separated it was obviously we'd undone the bolts, we tapped them up, and then used an trolley jack to lift the axle. That seemed to be the easiest way, rather than trying to get the U-bolts all the way out just by tapping them and using the drift. So we'll reassemble that and I'll film it once we've got it back in position. Right, as you can see, we've managed to get the U-bolts over the top. You'll find that this flange obstructs that one, the back U-bolt, so you've got to lift the axle so you can get the U-bolt into that position. I found in the end that putting the spacer roughly into position, then with feeding the U-bolts through the top bracket with the rubber on the springs was probably the best way. As I said, we're replacing the rubbers, so we might have to be a bit more careful about whether they get trapped or whatever. One thing I've noticed on the other side, there is no metal top plate, so we'll have to replace that. But also these U-bolts had different threads, but I managed to find some new nuts to go on there. But we've tightened it down, and we'll run it, and then obviously come over it back and just check that all the nuts and everything are tightened up. In this kit I did find some new bushers for here, but they're nylon, which is not really the best for a road car because you lose obviously the cushioning effect, and it was used for the race car. But that appears to be okay, so we'll get the other side done and lower it down, and then we'll video it again. And of course, well done Ian, forgotten to fit the damper, so we'll take those off and fit that on. Cheers. Right, all done underneath. We've got the spacers in both sides, the damper bracket back on. It takes a bit of jiggling around using the axle stands and G-clamps and the trolley jack, but all on. I'm going to take it for a run, and then we'll just give it another tighten up. But hopefully that will lower it. We'll get it down and just check the height difference. I noticed that the wheels are different colours side to side. We're waiting to get some of these black centred ones. Could only get two. Right, taking it for a run. Comes fine. And then we'll just measure it again. The front seems to drop slightly. That's down at about 120. And the back, yeah, it's about 150, 160. So yeah, quite pleased with that. And we'll just start her up. You can listen to that exhaust. It's a standard 1275 engine, but with the exhaust from the muffler can from the motorbike. Sounds good. It's a race can from a 12 Suzuki Bandit 1200. Right, okay, I think that's about it. All the best.